Best Buy has released another Batman Steelbook. Let's take a look at it. This is a first for me, not necessarily because we're getting two completely different steelbooks for a movie. I have seen that before with other films, except I don't think I've ever seen it happen within the year of its release, both theatrically and also on its original run in home media, where we had a prior steelbook get released along with the 4K and Blu-ray releases of the film itself, and then we get just a second one right out of the blue. It's almost like maybe they had two designs on dock. One won out by popular vote, but then later on, when they realized just how much they sold out with that original print, they decided to re-release the second version. And here we have Best Buy releasing thus another The Batman 2022 Steelbook in 4K. Now, there's really not much more to see when it's inside of its cellophane. In fact, the insert that's on the back is completely identical to that of the original 4K Steelbook release from earlier in, I believe, April, or was it May? I think it's when that original one came out. So nothing really to speak about when it comes to this insert here. There was no changes as far as the illustrations or the pictures used. We're gonna go ahead and skip that altogether and get right down to the unwrapping. So let's call upon the trusty bat knife, or bat, whatever you want to call this. But basically, we're going to be utilizing this little knife that I got as a birthday gift from my friend Surface Assassin. Let me make sure I can open this without getting myself killed. Dun, 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 dun. Make sure that we don't damage the steelbook. Ah! Okay, I think we're good. Make a small incision, use the rest of my fingers to cut it open, and here we go. And thus the wrapper gets removed. We're going with a much more matted finish, although I believe the original Batman came out with the matted finish as well. And I will be sliding in some insert shots here, comparing it to the original release from Best Buy earlier this year with that original look, because I got something of an observation that I made when looking at the two cover arts that they decided to go with. In fact, I'll go ahead and address it here as we then take a look at our official artwork for the second steelbook of the Batman from Best Buy as a 4K steelbook Blu-ray release. And as you can see, for the second outing this time around, they went with what I like to call a bit more of a blockbuster look to the cover art, because I feel like they went with two different sides of what is arguably the same coin. Yes, that was a Harvey Dent reference right there, and I intended it. And the reason why is because here we have the original steelbook design from its original release in its plastic covering right here. And as you can see, completely different artwork. So a lot of people were posting in the comment section for that Best Buy product page asking, is this the original? Is this a reissue? What's going on? A lot of people were also talking about that in the Twitter accounts that were sharing the steelbook when it came up for pre-order, such as Wario64 and even Cheap Ass Gamer. And a lot of people were confused, like, why are we getting another steelbook? And frankly, it was simply just another artwork that they decided to release, except I feel like it's pretty much kind of emulating or evoking the two styles of looks that the Batman often strives for. One that's a bit more artistic, and one that's more on the cinematic, blockbustery, action-packed kind of side, which I personally always believe to be kind of like the angle or the force that Matt Reeves and cinematographer Greg Fraser are always kind of aiming for as I watched the Batman. They were going for things that were very stylized, very artistic, which is where you kind of get this artwork coming into full force, while at the same time going for a much more poster-like feel of this artwork. But it's cool to see that they kind of kept a little bit of that reflective coating on the paint job for the front of the art, and it's neat. Both have the red rain motif going on along with the Batman logo, only this time you can see that you got Batman himself right there just kind of brooding, probably humming something in the way to himself as he kind of looks down, with the Batmobile red lights kind of right here in the background. So overall, like I said, a much more poster look as opposed to the artistic blend of the question mark here with Batman's head. Spines are pretty much identical, except maybe the logo was minimalized just a tiny bit, and you can see that the Warner Brothers and DC logos are now red instead of silver. And then the back kind of mimicking the exact same thing going on when it comes to motifs as the front, where we have a much more artistical, very simple, but also somewhat ominous design of the bat symbol here with the question mark in the middle, almost kind of like targeting like crosshairs. Whereas we simply just have the Riddler from his standalone poster during the marketing of the film back in its theatrical release in March, while holding the envelope up that says, "To the Batman." And then the credits down at the bottom, this time red instead of the silver. And even though this is meant to be a much more, like I said, posterized kind of look to the back artwork, I kind of do like a little better this time the simplistic artistic design with the back here of how ominous this design overall looks, but also the cryptic kind of cipher here at the bottom that was very cool and interesting to figure out. It was when looking at the back art that then something caught my eye. Unfortunately, as you can see right here, once again I have a dented steelbook. However, this time, I will not be blaming Best Buy for this particular occasion because I don't know what it is, but overall, the delivery of this thing was actually in pretty good condition. It came in a very beefy box packed in with bubble wrap. It barely even moved inside of its box. It was pretty, stacked in there, very secure. And furthermore, the dent is covered up by the back cardboard insert, which makes it very difficult to spot prior to opening. So obviously now I'm kind of SOL because I've already opened this and it's not subject to be able to be returned. However, I noticed that the insert itself, if we were to go ahead and take a look at it once more, I deduced that there was no form of dent or cut or perforation on the back of the insert. Which leads me to believe that I think this time around, it really wasn't Best Buy. I think it really was the manufacturer, whether it be them being called Steelbook or whatever their official name may be. It looks like this time around, it's them to blame for this particular dent, and they tried to cover it up with the back insert. I mean, I know that that's a bit of a tinfoil hat style of conspiracy, but frankly, that's the only explanation that I can come up with because of the fact that it looks like it was purposely obscured. Not much at this point that we can really do now, so let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a look at the inside artwork. We have, of course, our little paper insert that happens to have a code for the digital copy of the movie, which I already have because I already got the original Steelbook. So, to whoever is my first viewer, have fun. There you go. And as I kind of predicted, the artwork for the discs themselves is completely identical to that of the prior releases, not just for the 4K Steelbook exclusive from Best Buy, but also pretty much any 4K release of the movie across retailers. And they also managed to change the artwork on the inside. This time, since we are already kind of using the "To the Batman" inscription here on the front of the envelope that was utilized in the original Steelbook release, this time they went for that art of him next to the side of the Batmobile looking all badass with cape flapping here in the distance. So I personally actually do kind of like this a little bit better than the "To the Batman," but at the same time, we're getting two completely different flavors here. This is meant to be a bit more on the artistic, abstract sort of angle that the Batman was going for. This is meant to be more badass, flashy, and blockbuster-like. And you can get that in full force when it comes to pretty much all the art they utilized for virtually every dimension of the Steelbook itself, from the front to the posterized look of the Riddler on the back, and then of course this art in the middle here that pretty much just shows Batman saying, "Yeah, check out my ride. All right, this is badass." So frankly, there's really no way to tell which one of these is better. It really just falls down to preference. There's virtually no way that I can say one is better than the other because it boils down to whether you want a much more artistic Steelbook for the Batman or the much more blockbustery kind. Now, frankly, I don't think an awful lot of people are going to have a choice in the matter since it looks like Best Buy only has this one in stock at the moment. This one is more or less kind of sold out at this point because it's been a while. So if you guys are in the need for some form of Steelbook from Best Buy to commemorate the Batman 2022 release from this year, then this is pretty much your only option right now, unless you're willing to pay some scalper prices in another retailer or some other kind of avenue for this guy right here. But that's more or less the differences you get from your two Steelbooks, and I recommend them both. But like I said, they just fall down to the matters of preference of whether you want something a bit more on the artistic and abstract side, or you want something that's just a little bit on the more showy side, or if you're a completionist like me, just go for both. And while you're at it, get yourself a second one that you didn't even know you had, which I discovered while I was looking for this guy. I have a problem. But if you guys want to go ahead and enable the problem, then please let me know by hitting the thumbs up button down below, or with the thumbs down if you guys did not enjoy the video. If you, however, did get yourself this particular Steelbook or the original from its initial run back in April or May of its release from Best Buy, please let me know in the comment section which guys do you prefer. Do you prefer the more abstract, nuanced one, or the much more showy blockbuster action type right here on the right? And of course, as always guys, stay humble. I'll see you on the next one.